Hello, everybody. This is Lunch Therapy. This is my co-host, Boney, here. He's a skeleton. He's here. Boney, we're going to have a great guest today. We're going to have a guest that loves skeletons. Yeah, so get ready for a good time. We got Brandie Posey on the show. She's a comedian. She's a podcaster. She's a fantastic person. She's in the show that we're doing on Saturday at the Visionarium in South Pasadena. We'll have more to say on that, but let's get into the show. This is Lunch Therapy. Crepe race.
Now,
For when you're feeling kind of bony.
hey, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to say about my skin?
I'm gonna get myself a modem. I'm gonna get myself a modem. Hey guys, I'm gonna get myself a modem. I'm gonna get myself a modem. Hey guys, I'm gonna get myself a modem. I'm gonna get myself a modem. Hey guys, Hello and welcome to Lunch Therapy. This is Joel Marshall, your host. This is Interview Friday, and we got Brandie Posey here. She is in the show that we're doing on Saturday night at the Visionarium Italian restaurant in South Pasadena. Hoy! Excited about the show tomorrow night. Yeah, I'm very excited about the show, as is Kamala. And Clasterfan is here. Holy Clasterfan. Hey, Rob. We got Brandie Posey on the show today. This is Interview Friday. Laugh Therapy is the live version of this show that is happening Saturday night, May 23rd at 7 p.m. at the Visionarium. Let's get into this show, which is Lunch Therapy, Interview Friday. We start the show with 3 deep breaths. We've got behind me, I've got healing vibrations, sound baths. This one is called Gentle Stream. And we're going to take in 3 deep breaths before we bring our guest on. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. In through the nose, out through the toes. Let it go. One more time, in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Lunch Therapy is a show that's on Tuesdays and Fridays. Fridays we do interviews with interesting people like today. And Tuesdays we do a variety show. Sometimes we have comedians on. We do stand-up, we do sketches, and we do a trivia contest where you can win money. So come on by on Tuesday as well. But welcome today to Interview Friday. All right, and thanks to Healing Vibrations for getting us setting the tone for the day. Setting the tone for the day. That's kind of a thing that I've been doing lately, where I look at how I start the day. And if it starts off on the wrong foot, like I get up and I'm just totally stressed out, or something goes wrong and I don't know how to recover, I just try and reset. I'll meditate, I'll sit and breathe for a little while, I'll listen to healing vibrations or whatever or watch a funny video, or pet my cats so that I can set the tone for the day. I don't know, it's the thing. The book is coming soon. Setting the Tone for the Day. Available at Amazon. Brandie Posey. So lucky to have her here. So lucky to have her in the show on Saturday. She was introduced to me by Chris Walsh, who has been on this show and will also be in the show on Saturday night. So have I said there's a show on Saturday night? Okay, good. I said that. There's a link in the show notes. Brandie Posey is a comedian, a podcaster, a record label owner, and one of the most genuinely punk people working in comedy today. And I mean punk rock, not like she's Punky Brewster or something. She grew up in the DC area or Maryland, moved to LA. Instead of waiting for someone to hand her a career, she's built one step at a time on her own terms. Her debut album was called Opinion Cave. She makes albums of her comedy. It hit number 1 on iTunes, number 12 on Billboard, and she's self-produced and self-released every bit of it, so that's pretty cool. We're very much into the DIY, as they say, do-it-yourself, produce things. It's kind of the way the world is going, I guess, these days. She also has been co-hosting Lady to Lady, which is a podcast, one of the longest running comedy podcasts out there, with Babs Gray and Tess Barker. Hundreds of episodes, millions of downloads, and a fan base that follows her when she goes out on the road. She created a show called Picture This, which was a live comedy show where animators illustrated jokes in real time as you perform them, and shot the pilot for TruTV with Wanda Sykes production company. Now, in 2023, she launched Burn This Records. It's her own comedy label, built specifically to create equity for artists. And they've already put out 7 comedy albums, including her own album, which just dropped, called Milk Job. And you can watch that on YouTube. You can see the link in the show notes. And also, it's available on Amazon and different places. So check that out. Without further ado, Brandie Posey.
I got one of those 12-foot skeletons from Home Depot. You guys seen those? Hell yeah. Portland feels like a skeleton town. I love my 12-foot skelly. It was hard to get. They sold out immediately in 2020 because something about the year 2020 made people want to own their own looming specter of death. They don't know what that was. So I was like, I'm getting one in 2021. I'm not missing this skeleton. So I joined a bunch of 12-foot skeleton Facebook groups. I was like, I want that inside track to that 12-foot skeleton. It worked, too. It was great because there was a bunch of Home Depot employees that were telling us when they were dropping at various Home Depots around the country. They wouldn't even publish the SKU numbers. That's how popular the skeletons were. They are the Tickle Me Elmo of childless millennials. That is fully what's going on there. I got one. My Home Depot employee said, hey, this is when they're showing up. I showed up that morning. Half an hour after my Home Depot opened, I got the second to last skeleton. Yeah, it was me and 12 goth cholas just high-fiving in the parking lot. Just like, yes, girl, yes. It was so good. And then I took him home and I put him up. And my skeleton, he came with 2 left hands by accident. But then on 12-Foot Skeleton Facebook, I found a guy in Wisconsin whose skeleton came with 2 right hands. So then we just mailed skeleton arms across the country to each other. Just like a beautiful cosmic skeleton high five somewhere over Wyoming. It's really beautiful, just bringing everybody together.
Welcome to Lunch Therapy, Brandie Posey. It's great to have you.
Hey, Joel. Thanks for
Hey.
having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's so cool. So you're a skeleton fan as well.
I am. I actually brought this guy in from the other room. This is
yeah.
one of my many that I have in the
Oh.
house. He's a year-round guy. He dances too. Hold on. Let me get him going.
That's awesome. Look
Yeah.
at that.
He gets moving. He's next to the bathroom. It's just like a real bathroom party.
It's so
Dances
cool.
around. Love him.
If my skeleton wasn't working away diligently at the computer
Of
right
course.
now, I'd bring him on. But he's got a job to do. You know,
Yeah, this guy's more of an intern over here. So
I had my Boney in the car, and I got pulled over by the cops. So that was super fun. And luckily I wasn't drunk or something. Luckily I stopped drinking a while ago, because otherwise it would have been a real problem. But the policeman was on the other side, like the passenger side, talking to me, and the skeleton was sitting there in the seat. Never mentioned it.
That's really funny.
It's so weird.
I like the idea of him being like, it's fake, right? We can't. I don't have time to do the paperwork for this guy driving around with a real skeleton, so I'm not even gonna ask.
Yeah, he could have thought maybe that, like Kamala said, I was in the HOV lane or something.
Yeah.
Trying to pretend that I had a passenger.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's so great to have you on the show. I've been throwing myself into a lot of you've got so much material out there. One of the things that strikes me is this Lady to Lady podcast. Mm-hmm. When did you start that, and what was the climate like at the time? And it's one of the first kind of big comedy podcasts, right?
Yeah. We've been around for 14 years. So we started in 2012. Actually, November of 2012 is when our first episode started dropping. So we're coming up on 14 years later this year.
Wow.
And podcasts weren't really a thing at that point. I mean, I think it was Earwolf was barely a thing at that point. Like Marin, I think Marin beat us by maybe like 6 months or something. But me and Babs and Teslas, we're all stand-up comics that we had met through doing open mics and stuff around LA and became friends. And we used to do a live show that was like a monthly talk show, very like Eric Andre adjacent, called Lady to Lady, because we're just like, it's like man to man, but lady to lady was like the energy. We want to do like a real like messed up view was kind of like the plan with it. And we did that for a few years, but then we had at the theater we used to do it at, that doesn't exist anymore. We the director of the theater was like, do you guys know what podcasts are? And like, I listened to a few, and he was like, you guys work so hard at this and your banter is so funny. Like, I think you guys should do it. It'd be a lot easier and you'd reach more people than, killing yourself for trying to pack a weekly thing here or a monthly thing here,
Yeah.
So we started and have missed very, very few Wednesdays in 14 years. I mean, we're coming up on 700 episodes at the end of July, consistently every Wednesday that entire time. And we kind of started it as like most of our guests are women, because it's like 4 women talking, and kind of at that time it was very that our women funny question was like annoyingly around all the time. And the point of the podcast was just to be like, we're not even going to address it. We're just going to be funny.
Yeah.
And you get to hear 4 women riffing, and over time, it's like still, we're doing that. We can point to a catalog of over 700 hours of just like really fun times for everybody. Like, we have a ton of male listeners too, and now I think also, especially like, to me, a part of it that I am really proud of is that we are 4 women being entertaining without tearing each other down, because I think so much of female television is like women fighting over something, or very like scarcity based, like
So
that is like
true.
where that's where it comes from. And you're like, no, actually, you can all just like each other and like laugh, and like it doesn't, that's much more real life. So it's trying to combat that narrative too, I think.
I like that. I'm
Yeah.
amazed at how y'all can talk without cutting each other off or overlapping. It's quite amazing the way. I mean, I listened to one of the more recent ones, so you've been doing it for
Yeah.
700 episodes. What was that like in the beginning? Did you have to like really get good at that, or?
We honestly picked it up pretty quick. I mean, I think because we'd been friends for a few years before that, so we kind of just knew how talking and riffing just went in comedy. I mean, and I think we're not competitive with each other when we're talking. I think a thing that can happen with stand-ups a lot is you get competitive, like trying to get the joke. It's
Yeah.
like we kind of just trust that someone else is going to kind of keep the ball in the air a little bit. So when you have something to throw in, it's like you kind of just know, like, all right, I'll have my moment. I don't need to like fight for it though. Like there will always be something there. It's just a lot of trust there.
Yeah. Did you, when you started comedy, where did you start? Did you start here in Los Angeles or did you start someplace else?
I
Yeah.
started out here in Los Angeles. Yeah. I'm from Baltimore and East Coast and everything originally. And then when I moved out to LA, I moved out here initially to like be a writer and kind of like work in TV, and I didn't really know what that meant. And then I started going to like UCB shows right when it opened. This was like
Mhm.
2007. And at that time you could see for $5, you could go see Maria Bamford and Paul F. Tompkins and all these people that I didn't really know at that point, and then was like, holy shit, this is stand up that I'm interested in. There's a lot of stand up on TV was very like very broy, backwards baseball cappy, like not I was like, that's funny, but like I don't really like see myself in that world. I'm not really interested in being in it. But then I started seeing like the more alternative comics or whatever, like, and I was like, oh, I want to know these people. This is very much like a world that I think my sense of humor aligns with more. And we kind of just I kind of just fell in love with the challenge of it. Yeah.
Was there a community that you kind of got involved in? Was UCB a good place to find community, or where did you kind of find that, or did you?
Not I definitely did. I mean, Babs and I started doing open mics kind of within a month of each other. I took a couple like improv classes and stuff, but it just wasn't, it's just not my thing. I like, the writer in me is like really annoyed by the improv, and then I'm like, well, I'm being a hater, I'm wrong. Let me remove myself. So I kind of just I started going to open mics. And at that time in LA,
It was
there
harder
there
back then, right? I mean,
it was harder, but also like I have been told by comics who were older than us that like when there was something in the water around the few years where I started, where a lot of us that started at the same time, we kind of came in with a very DIY self-starter like attitude, and we're like, okay, cool, awesome. There's no mic on Wednesday. I guess I'll like run that or whatever. Like
yeah.
I was 4 months into stand up, and then my favorite mic that I went to was at a place called The Spot down in Culver City. The hosts were announced, they were like, we're gonna be done with this. And I was like, oh well, I'll take it over if you want. Like I kind of just have always been like a person that was like, what do you need? Okay, fine. We don't have that. I guess I'll just do it, whatever. And I took that over. It was like me and Tamara Brown ran it together for 3 years. And then at that time also like a lot of people were just starting to run like little coffee shop shows and like alternative stuff outside of the clubs, because the clubs felt very like inaccessible in a lot of ways. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it just was like, I'm not going to just go hang out somewhere every Wednesday or whatever,
Yeah.
or Monday, and not get up. So it's like me, Babs, like Dave Ross, like Alan Strickland Williams, like a lot of us all kind of like started together, and we're just like, let me go run a show and figure this out and like go support each other. And it was like it was a really nice scene. It was like very supportive very early on. Yeah.
Seems like a lot of your comedy is kind of story based, experience based.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, how do you usually go about finding your material?
So yeah, my stuff is usually very based in like things that have happened, or like something that I read that kind of like will inspire me or whatever.
Mhm.
I have a notebook of like anytime something of note happens, I'll like kind of write it down in my initial thoughts. And there's a lot of things in there that until I understand what like the higher point of them is, I don't like talk. I'm like, I'll figure out what that is actually supposed to mean later.
Mhm.
Like I feel like a lot of my jokes, it's like, oh, like the skeleton joke, the full version of that joke is like actually about like like becoming politically active. It's
Really?
like actually,
Really?
yeah. The whole point of that joke is actually like, I'm in all these 12-foot skeleton Facebook groups, and there's all these women around the country that I've seen become like radicalized because their HOAs are trying to get them to take down their skeletons now.
Oh
And
yeah.
like it's like got them outside with clipboards and stuff. And you're like, holy shit, this is like actually like giving me more hope than anything else. And it's like that there's more to it, but like that's kind of the bit.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like until I understand what the here's a quirky, interesting thing, what does it actually mean? Like
I
and
love
can
that
I
idea.
yeah, like can I place it into a larger point of view kind of. Like I'll and that can take a little while. I mean, yeah, I definitely have stuff that has happened like 15 years ago. I'm like, I still don't understand. That's a funny story, but I don't know what it means yet. And that is like
Do
still
you
the thing I'm always
talk
working
it? You
on.
said you were a writer. Do you talk
Mhm.
it out? Do you write it? What do you usually do to find that, the meaning in whatever the thing is that's interesting to you, but
I
you don't quite know
mostly
yet? Why?
I will work out like a few punchlines around something and be like, here's like the bigger jokes that
Hmm.
this makes me think of, and then I will kind of try to like noodle it out and figure out the rest on stage in early parts of it. But I do kind of like sit and like think, and will walk around with headphones on with nothing playing in them often, just to be like, what am I not thinking of about this? Like I just will kind of like turn something over in my mind a lot.
Interesting.
um an interesting thing about me is that I have aphantasia. Do you know what that is?
No, what is that?
So aphantasia basically means my mind's eye is blind.
What does
Like
that mean? You don't see things or?
no, I don't have a visual memory or like a visual
Oh, interesting.
yeah, I don't my thinking is like kind of purely conceptual. Like it's almost as if like every memory is like a police report where I'm like, here are the bullet points of the thing that
Really?
happened.
I'm like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
opposite of that. I'm the opposite where I can't, it's hard for me to see words. I have to,
Hmm.
like when I do memorize a script, I have to turn it into pictures.
Oh,
So I must
funny.
be
Yeah.
whatever the opposite of that is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I think it's like it's definitely a part of my stand up because I just will be
Yeah,
like, all right, here's like a concept of or here's like the story. What does it mean? So I think that's like a part of like my writing process is
so
like really trying
interesting.
to put those things together.
Well, it's,
Mhm.
whenever you have something like that, you kind of have to try to turn it into your superpower. What
Yeah,
advantage does that give you, do you think?
I think I think it makes me very well, is it an advantage? I think I can be pretty blunt because I don't like have a lot of it feels to me like a lot of visualization and a lot of like visual memory can tie like more emotion to things than I do
Hmm.
technically, where I'm just like, well, that's not what happened. Because
Yeah,
here's the fact. Here's the facts about what happened.
yeah.
And I think I can like what so is that an advantage or not? Insert to ask some people in my life, and you'd say definitely not.
Well, I definitely have that difficulty. Like if I'm having an argument with somebody
Mhm.
and I want to say like, well, you said this or whatever. I don't
Mhm.
know what they said. I just know how
Yeah,
I
yeah.
felt. Well,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so
Definitely,
they're like, I
yeah.
didn't say that, and I'm like, well, that's what it said to me. That's what you said to me.
Yeah, totally. So I think it just like it I think that I don't get full like it's hard to get one over on me a little bit, I think. And I don't know if that's like fully aphantasia related or not, but I feel very like I've had a lot of moments where I'll meet somebody and I'll be like, don't like them.
Mhm.
Here's can we send you to the White House? Yeah.
Yeah, send you to the White House.
I've been there. Not during this administration, but oh man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I just like in my brain, I'm just like, here's a person, here's just the facts about them. So I
Mhm.
think that like if somebody rubs me the wrong way, it's like I don't have like a bunch of like nice memories of them that pull from. I'm like, nope, here's like a thing that happened. And I'm not gonna hold it against them forever, but I also won't forget it because it's in the file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just dropped your special.
Mhm.
Just now, it's interesting the way you did it. Did you do it as an audio version first on
Yeah.
iTunes or, yeah. So,
Yeah, I did it as a stand-up album first. I mean, I comedy albums were a big deal to me growing up. I mean, I feel
me
that
too.
like
Me too.
the the special experience, the comedy special is the big thing everyone's pushing for now because
Hmm.
of the internet and video and everything. But I do think that an album is like a timeless experience that like being able to do an hour, I think is it's a real milestone as a comedian.
Hmm.
And I put it out as an album first because you can sell them, number
Yeah.
one. And I was like, well, if you watch it, you're not going to buy it. But if
When you
you
say as an album, is that like iTunes or is that like an actual physical album or how did you,
It's
or both?
right now it's digital. You can get it
Hmm.
on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, Bandcamp, any Tidal, any of the places that you stream music. You can absolutely listen to this there too.
It's called,
And you can
this is the
Milk
one,
Job.
Milk Job.
Hmm.
Yeah, Milk Job.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
there's a link in the show notes for that, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. You
Um,
can buy Milk Job anywhere, and you can watch it for free on YouTube. But if you want to like support me monetarily, you can buy a copy
so
on
how
Amazon.
is that? I mean, basically, you started out with another special,
Hmm.
and picture or no, not picture this. It was called Opinion Cave.
Opinion Cave is
Opinion
my
Cave.
first album. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And so when was that?
I
And yeah,
released that in 2016. Yeah,
so it was
about 10
not
years.
like that long ago, 10 years ago.
Mm-mm.
But it was number one on iTunes,
Hmm.
number 12 on Billboard, and you actually made money from it. Is that right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Yeah,
is
I've made
that
it. Made,
a good business model for comedians, you think, still to this day?
well, so the way that you make money really is if you can get into rotation on Sirius XM.
Okay.
And they picked up 7 or 8 tracks from that album for Sirius XM, because every time a satellite radio spin happens, you get paid pretty well.
Hmm.
Like each, I'll break it down like really
Yeah.
like so every time that a track plays on satellite radio, it's worth about $40. How that is split between you and your record label is determines on what your deal is. Most comedy record labels do a 50-50 split. Burn This does an 80-20. And if I self-released Opinion Cave, so I kept 100% of that money the entire time. And that's kind of a big reason why I started one in the first place.
That's so interesting because people are
Hmm.
always looking for ways to, make money as a comedian. And I have
Yeah.
not really heard somebody talk on this show about that. Is that why you started your own label?
Hmm. Yep. Started the label to try to be able to like get people into Sirius XM. I've submitted a bunch of stuff through them and have a good relationship with them. And yeah, it's like I'm mostly with the Burn This Records. I'm trying to work with people around the country that are kind of pillars within their own local independent scenes. They run a lot of shows. They are like a person that's keeping this independent space kind of like healthy.
Hmm.
And if I can help them make a couple extra $100 a month or something with some Sirius XM tracks, then that they could maybe let go of one of the plates they have to spin to pay rent or whatever, and then they can put that back into their scene. I mean, as an example, Zach Peterson out of Omaha, Nebraska is the first guy I ever did an album with. He's been a
Hmm.
good longtime friend, extremely funny comic.
Hmm.
He has an album called A List of Wet Celebrities that has done very, very well. SiriusXM picked up a lot of it. It's on a bunch of playlists on Spotify. It's great, and he like actually has started a series called the No Coast Comedy Club, where we're recording miniature specials that are going to start coming out in June, actually, of like other like headliners around the country and stuff like that. So it's just a very it's him like giving back and being like, okay, great. I'm making money off this project and I want to use it to try to like uplift more people in this community. Yeah, I mean these are all the albums I've put out on the label.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah. Yeah, people from all over the place. I mean, Jeremy is from St. Louis. Ryan Rogers is from New Orleans. Sam Rager's from Detroit. Sammy Anzer from Denver, lives in New York now. Um, Steve Taylor, Kansas City. Sari Beliak, Phoenix. Shannon Norman, Pittsburgh. Shanda Sung, Bloomington, Indiana. Like it's people I've worked with on touring for forever. Um, yeah, I've got about I think there's 34 albums out currently.
Wow, that's great.
That
This is
I've put
at
out.
burnthisrecords.com if anybody wants to
Hmm.
check that out.
Yep, you
Um,
can find that. Yeah.
so when did you
It's
start touring? Like when did that happen and how did that happen
I
originally?
started touring in probably 2013, I think. It was like
Hmm.
really when I started. The way that happened is like I started submitting to comedy festivals around the country,
Hmm.
got into a few of them, and then you would meet um the comics. This is how I meet a lot of people that I've met that I work with now. I've met them at a festival. I know them from they're in a different hometown,
Hmm.
and then I'd be like, hey, I want to come through and like do a couple of shows in your city and like maybe some surrounding cities. Like, who should I talk to? And like, can I come and like maybe close out a show at that point, like with like 20 minutes or something. Like, I don't know. I I need to get longer stage time because in LA it's very hard to get long stage
Yes.
time.
Right.
So
Right.
I kind of started putting this network together, but getting into festivals was kind of like the first part of it. Although I think I would imagine that's kind of changed now. It's like in certain ways, like at that time you weren't posting clips online in the same way at all. So it was a
Hmm.
very different climate. But I would kind of meet people and start putting this like network together around the country. And then when I started touring to try to put together my first headlining tour, I kind of would reach out to those same people and be like, "Hey, I've got 45 minutes. I think it's an album. I just need to put it together because right now I've been able to do it in a disjointed way. Can I come through? Is there any way that can I like headline, like really headline one of your shows? Can we like put something together just for me or something like that?" And I was very thankful that a lot of people were down for that. I mean, I just kind of just avoided the whole club route altogether. I've submitted to stuff, they just don't like me. So I'm always like, all right, I'm not gonna not do this. Like
For you.
I have to, if I believe in my art, which I do, then I will figure out a way to do it. So that
Wow.
first tour was like a 6 week tour that I built around. I had 3 weddings that I was in, and they were in like New York, Chicago, and New York, like two like one weekend, 2 weekends, and then 2 weeks ends later, like every other weekend. So I was like, all right, well, I need to be in these places then. So what shows can I figure out in between and everything around there? So I mean, that was 6 weeks. I went on the road and like broke even for the most part, but I mean, I was staying with comics and like, gas was much cheaper then and like, eating like shit. I mean, I was like in my early 30s or whatever then. And like just kind of was like, all right, let's do it. Let's see what happens. And I had just gotten I had had a job where I was a social media coordinator for an automotive marketing firm. And they shut down their department, so I got put on unemployment
Mhm.
because of that, which was also really great and helped a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's not spoken about enough, but I think that genuinely, like, unemployment has been a big part of like early success for me, is being able to just like have the space to do that.
Hmm.
The pandemic, like honestly, the True TV pilot that I shot for with Picture This like messed me up financially a lot. The pandemic and that unemployment money helped reset that in a big way. So just like being able to support your art in these early struggling stages and stuff is really
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
noticed that you recorded Milk Job in
Hmm.
Oregon.
Hmm.
Y- Um, does your comedy, because you were able to go around the country, do you find that your comedy resonates with people wherever you go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. Like I don't really pull my punches anywhere. I really believe that like if you say things from a place of um if you're not condescending and you're genuine in your belief, I think that most people will actually like listen to what you have to say. But if you start something by being like this person is an idiot that I'm about to talk about,
Yeah.
that rightfully will turn you off.
Yeah.
So I really try to look for like if I'm doing anything political specifically, I try to be like, well, where do I have connection with this person and where are we different? So how can I reach them? And that's kind of where I'm trying to come from with most jokes, or I'll just be like a little sneaky about like how I actually feel about something, and they've laughed so much that they're okay with that punchline too.
Yeah.
So I think that touring around is like really, I have a very high punchline per minute count, and I think a lot of touring has like done that because I'm like, oh, okay, you don't exactly know what I'm talking about yet because this reference might not work, but if I hit it with enough punches as I'm getting information out, you will catch up and you will have enjoyed the process. And I believe in them. I believe in most audiences. Like honestly, most 99% of people have been great.
Mm. And so you still to this day, do you book your own tours?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've had 3 different managers. They were all varying degrees of useless.
Hmm.
I have a lawyer now who's great. He does my contracts and he's like the only rep I really need. I kind of have learned how to handle the rest of it. You know, it would be nice to have somebody else doing it, but it's also like no one has approached me, and that is, you know,
There's something
their
to be
problem,
said
not
for
mine.
having control over what you're doing.
Yeah,
You know, not just
definitely.
because it nobody
Mhm.
understands you like
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Very much so.
Camel has a
Mhm.
question. She said, "What would a comedy track be defined as? How long is it, and what is it exactly?" So, like you were talking about the Sirius
Sure.
FM
So sure. So I mean, SiriusXM likes
XM.
tracks that are 3.5 to
Yeah.
6.5 minutes. And then a track is like on an out like my album, I think has 12.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, each individual jokes, but you want to like for XM specifically, you want to package them in like a 3.5 to 6.5 minute chunk, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That is mostly related material. If you listen to comedy albums, you'll see like all the different track titles listed down them.
Let's go. I'm
Yeah,
gonna play a
like I
clip.
have,
Oh wait.
yeah, like
Okay.
I was gonna say like Opinion Cave, my first is I have
Mm-hmm.
a cassette of my first one. Can you
Oh
see
my
that?
gosh. Nice.
There it is. Cassette of the first one. And that one
Oh, that's
has
cool.
you probably can't see it, but it has like all the track listings here in the
Oh yeah.
back there. So yeah. That's the first. This is the first one. There'll probably be a cassette for the second one too. People love it. So
I love that. I love
yeah.
that. All right. I'm gonna play a clip.
Okay.
I don't think I want kids to the point that I think if I was the last woman on earth and the last man on earth found me, and I would hide for a long time. Because it would be so quiet. But if he found me and he was like, hey, you want to get the human race started again? I'd be like, nah, dog. You can have sex with anything else on the rest of the planet. Because what I learned during lockdown is I'm going to need everybody else to be dead and the internet to be turned off before I actually get good at a hobby. I don't know if anybody else is like me, bought a bunch of clay and called yourself a ceramicist. It's still clay, baby. I got a box of yarn that has followed me to 4 separate apartment buildings. But I will not get rid of the yarn because then the yarn wins and the yarn can't win. No, bury me with my yarn. Go to Michael's and buy a bunch of popsicle sticks and just like build a tiny funeral pyre and like put me and my body and all of my crafts underneath of it and just burn us at the end. That's how I want to go out.
I made that
great.
bumper as like a joke.
Hell yeah.
That lunch therapy was now available on cassette, but you have them, so that's
Right here.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. You said that Picture This. Now, Picture This
Mhm.
was a pilot that you made,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
people would draw while the comedians did their comedy. You
Mhm.
said that kind of set you back a little bit,
Yeah,
as far
absolutely.
as financially goes. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Picture This is a show that I've been running and I co-created 14
Mhm.
years ago. And it's comedians paired up with animators. And it's great. We get people like Pendleton Ward, the creator of Adventure Time, Craig Bartlett, who created Hey Arnold, like they come on and draw. And it's like it's a blast because it's seeing your ideas translated through somebody else's mind. And you're
Sounds
like,
so
oh,
cool.
that's not how I picture the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, literally, it's not how I picture the thing that I'm talking about, but like that's the way that you interpreted what I said. And then it's my favorite thing to do. I love it. And we were shopping it around in 2018 or 2017 maybe
Mhm.
for as a pilot. And we at that time at midnight had just gone off the air. And that Trivia HQ app, I don't know if you remember that at all. It was like a
Oh.
trivia thing that everyone did live. It had
Oh.
like a it had like 4 months that it was like the thing.
I don't even know what
And
that
it's
is. But they did it live,
it
like a live show, and then they did trivia?
yeah, it was like a on your phone, everybody could play trivia live, and I think you could win money or something, but it was those 2 things were happening at the same time. And so every place we pitched to was like, "But how is it a game show? How is this a game show?"
That's funny.
And we were like, "It's not, but yeah, it's not. This is just a really good comedy show that's visually interesting that feels like a slam dunk." But, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. And then True bought it, and then once they bought it, they were like, "But how is it a game show?" And we were like, "No." We
It's
like,
not a game show.
"No, it's not." And so they basically were like, we will make this, but as a game show, we need you guys to develop games around the concept to figure out what the structure of this looks like. And I mean, we made no money. Like we were in development and pre-production, like fighting for our lives against horrible network notes for about 6 months, where I got paid $2,000 for the concept,
Mhm.
and then I made 1,500 as the writer of the pilot, and that was it. I made
Wow.
$3,500 off of selling my pilot. And because we had a 5-person team from the show that we were bringing in, so the show got $10,000.
Mhm.
That was it. We all got
Oh my
two each,
gosh. Wow.
so it made nothing. And at that time, it's like I was on the road a lot, but I was also like driving for Lyft when I was back in LA, or I had little odd jobs. But if I was in the office all day working on a game, I
Yeah.
wasn't making any money,
Uh-huh.
like being able to make my money. So I was just racking up credit card debt because I was just like trying to figure out this thing. And then they told me, they were like, we love this, we're definitely going to pick it up. So as soon as like we say yes, like we're just going to run into production and then we're good to go. So like keep your calendar open. So they took forever to edit it, they took forever to finally say no, and when they finally did,
No.
I had an open calendar that said no in like February of 2019 or whatever, I think it was.
Mm.
It was either 2018 or I forget which year it was, confused. But they said no, and I had an open runway because they told me to keep it open because I wasn't at a point where I could book a bunch of stuff and then have to cancel it. So I had no work other than, no stand-up work of any kind. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, now I'm in the hole a bunch, and now I need to just like scramble, and I could start booking stuff in like October of that year. But
Mm.
I have all this time now. I need to drive for Lyft and like figure out all this other stuff to like try to get out of this debt that I'm in,
Yeah.
because of this thing that like is supposed to be a great thing that happens.
Right.
I mean, and it feels good to have outlived TruTV. I'll say that. It feels good to have outlived them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of times on the show we talk about this, but how do
hmm
you keep such a great attitude when things are so up and down and things are so difficult to navigate?
hmm I mean, I think to me, I personally think a lot about like I don't like a lot of mainstream stuff. So I cannot expect the mainstream to necessarily like me. Like
Mm.
why would my focus be on getting into that space? Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, like why would my focus being to try to get into that space if I don't even like that space as a consumer? So
Hmm.
I think that depersonalizes a lot of the successes that I see comedy like pushing in general, where I'm like, all right, cool. Well, that's not like I don't even like that as like a person, so why am I working towards it myself? Okay, let me
Yes.
just
And
take that out of
sometimes
the
you're like,
equation.
oh, I mean, sometimes as you go, you have this realization of like, oh,
Mhm.
maybe I don't have that thing that I think I want because I don't
Yeah.
actually want it.
hmm No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's moments where it's just like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I thought like I definitely want to do a TV show. I want to work in TV. I want to like get this. I want to be in this machine, whatever. The pilot was a radicalizing experience for me that I'm very thankful for,
Hmm.
because it was like, oh, actually, I like cannot handle the amount of bullshit
Yeah.
that you have to put up with from this. Because we were getting development executive notes that made no sense, but
Hmm.
because they are some development executive, I'd have to implement them. And I knew I was wasting like 2 days just having to do this.
Just to prove that
Um,
it was maybe not
yes.
going to work.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just to prove that it wasn't going to work, but you still had to give it a best shot. And like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, I was like, oh, I'm building my own thing.
Yeah.
And I really like am a believer in, I think that there was a thing in comedy, especially pre-pandemic. I think it was at its most toxic, where it was like, if you're not making all your money as a comedian, you're not a real comedian. And that's
There's
bullshit
all
to
that,
me.
always that bullshit going on.
Yeah, it's complete bullshit, and it is like really playing into like a capitalist mindset that is like, oh, the way that you define yourself is by how you make your money, and that's bullshit to me. It's like comedy is I think an art and a craft to be practiced in the best of your ability to the best way that you can. And like I always still I try to have like a non-comedy stream of income happening just because I want to be able to say no to stuff and not need to rely on like making compromises that I don't want to make. That doesn't make me any less of a comic. I think if
Oh,
anything, it's like I know people that have had to do things that they really don't like in comedy and have to be in spaces that they're very uncomfortable in. And I think that like if you're drawn to this, some part of you is like, I needed my voice to be the loudest voice in the room because of something that happened to me. I think that that is like a part of it. And so to then to like compromise on this thing that like has made you feel more in touch with like yourself, you now you're selling yourself out, right? And
mm,
then it's like, but with a thing that like helped make you feel safe.
yes.
And there's no amount of money to me that is worth that.
Hmm.
So it's like to me, I'm like, well, what are my terms? Like I'll say no to things or like just not even try to enter in certain spaces because I'm like, no, man, like at the end of the day, it's just you and you have your integrity, and that means more to me than a credit or anything. Like I don't know how to fit into different boxes than the ones that are me, you know?
Yeah. What
And
about like comedy contests? Do you ever do that kind of thing? Or,
I mean, I did California's Funniest Female
did you?
and but mostly just because it was stage time. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't, you know, to me your competition is with yourself to be your best version
That's
of
the way I
yourself.
feel too. It seems weird
Yeah.
competing against other comics.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't feel right to me, but it seems like that's one of the ways people move ahead
Yeah.
is then they're like award-winning comic or I won this festival or whatever. So I understand
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
idea of it. It just seems like a weird thing to compete in.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not it's so comedy's so subjective, right?
So
And so to me,
subjective, and to compare two
yeah.
comedians, it's sort of like the Oscars, when you compare
Yeah.
like two different acting roles. How can you
For
do that
sure.
really?
Well, and then you're like, well, who's judging this really? And then like what
Yeah.
are their biases they're bringing into it? And like
And how
it's
much
to me
money is involved
exactly.
in the
Exactly.
pushing ahead the one
Mhm.
person who wins?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm very like I'll if I if it's easy and I can do it for stage time, sure. But
Mm.
like I'm really not going to go out of my way to do that
But it
cuz
does
yeah.
hurt sometimes if you do it. I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
really done one, but I can
Mhm.
imagine that it
Yeah.
hurts when I've done things like going over
Yeah.
to the Laugh Factory and waited in line
Mhm.
all day to do
Yeah.
1 minute or 2 minutes and then had
Mhm.
them not ask me back. And I just, that feeling that I get when I leave
Yeah.
that is just like so awful that it's like, I
Oh
don't want to
yeah.
do that.
No, it's like really not for me. Like that is not I'm just like, no man, it's good. People laughed. Like that is my goal is to make the people that I'm in front of laugh.
Yeah.
And I don't the other trappings, whatever. I don't
I
have
find the
control over
same
that.
thing with, and I haven't watched Kevin Hart's new one, Funny
Mhm.
AF, but I find that like American Idol and when comedians go on
Mhm.
these different contest shows, being a
Mhm.
comedian doesn't really fit into that genre very well. So a lot of
Yeah.
times, like I'll see people that I know that are like pro comedians go on these
Mhm.
shows, and then they treat them like they are like amateurs, or
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
because you're
it's
trying to
so
create the
painful.
conflict. Well, yeah, because you're trying to like make the conflict for the TV show too. You
Yeah,
know, where it's
yeah,
like, okay, but can it just be that this person is funny? Like
yeah,
that's why I kind of like a special because it's like, all right, here's somebody being funny for an hour. You get to hear their point of view. If you like them, stick around. Cool.
yeah.
Like, but you don't need this like, oh my God. And then like these two people had a weird look and they're fighting too. And you're like, no, can it just be about like the ideas that somebody like worked on and like there's yeah.
Chris Walsh and I were having a conversation just the other day
Mhm.
about Chris Fleming, and
Mhm.
he's known him for 15 years or something like that.
Love
And
Chris.
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, and I found him during the pandemic,
Mhm.
basically through his videos online, the Gail Waters thing. And
Mhm.
I said to Chris, I said, Chris Walsh, I said, has he always been so physical, and has he always been, um,
Mhm.
so unique like this? And what was it that made him like kind of catch fire in the last year or so?
Mhm.
And he said, well, Chris was always true to himself and his point of
Yeah.
view and never
Mhm.
wavered from that. And eventually he found his 1% or whatever.
Yep.
And I just thought that was such a great way to put it. It's like you have to find the percentage of people that get you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's fully how I feel too. Yeah, with Chris, because it's such a great story to see,
Yeah.
because it is like, yeah, that's who Chris Fleming has been forever. Like, yeah, I've known Chris forever too, and he's just a sweetie who is just like, that's just who he is. Imagine like that guy trying to just be like, hey, oh my God, hey, you're a
Yo,
black guy.
the dating apps.
Like, yeah, it's like that's not who he is. That would be
Yeah.
miserable for him. It would like
Yeah.
I here's my thing. I think that audiences are very smart actually, and I think that they know when you are lying to them. And
Mm.
I think that and that doesn't mean you can't embellish a joke or you can't like take something on like a flight of fancy or whatever, but it's like your core. I think they know if you are like not being genuine,
Mhm.
and like an audience needs a leader. That is what they're looking for in a room. Like if they need to feel like you are in control and that you know who the hell you are. And I think if that thing is there, they get to relax and be like, oh, this person like gets it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's, yeah, that you just can't lie. You'll never be able to fully get them. It doesn't
And
mean you're going to get everybody, but
you have to kind of talk about what you find interesting to you. Like you were saying that
Yeah.
about that. You talk about what's interesting to you, you develop it, you find the funny in it.
Mhm.
But if you're trying to pander to what you think they're going to be interested in, you're probably
Yeah.
wrong.
Well, and you've given them too much power,
And you're
honestly.
also giving them too much power, and you're not
Yeah.
speaking from your core.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
It's like,
interesting.
why'd you grab a microphone in the first place? Like say what you want to say.
Why did you grab the microphone in the first place? Do you know?
I think a lot of it for me was like growing up was I have like hardcore perfectionist tendencies I've had to work on. I think that I was like a straight A student who was like, I'm an eldest daughter. We love to assume all of the emotional responsibilities in a family, all sorts of stuff that I've had to work through. And I think comedy just really was like a way for me to like, before I even understood a lot of that stuff, I was so drawn to it because I was like, oh, my voice gets to matter right now. And before
Yeah.
it just felt like I was in charge of like the energy equilibrium in a lot of dynamics. And it was very empowering to be like, actually, like I want to say this, and like it gets to be about me for a minute.
Mhm.
And I've done enough work for other people and on myself that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can take that space.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's like really, and I was always fun with my friends. Like I was
Mhm.
never a class clown, but I was like very funny with my friends. And I think of being a stand up, like I'm a joy conductor. Like I get
Yeah.
to like conduct the joy of a room. And I was always kind of just doing that with different, groups of people anyway. And then it was like, oh, let me like hone this as a true skill.
Mhm. I
Mhm.
like that idea. Here's what Kamala
Thanks.
said. It was crazy what Chelsea Handler had to deal with at the Kevin Hart roast. I don't know how you women deal with the outrageous sexism. And what do you think about that? Is that
Yeah, I
true?
mean, yeah, there's a lot of it. It's pretty awful. I mean, I created my own spaces and I work with the people that I know and trust and know are good people, and that's who I'm trying to uplift, like, and work with. Like I mean, there's horrific things that I've had said to me in early open mic years, especially where it was like, oh, this is garbage, but this is like you as a pathetic person lashing out at me.
Mhm. It's hard though
And
to like kind
oh
of
yeah,
put your feet in their shoes and just be like,
well
here's a
yeah,
person in pain. They're
yeah,
lashing
it's
out at
yeah.
me and I cannot take this and have it run around in my head.
No, it's a very hard thing, and I'm not gonna say I've always done it perfectly because I definitely haven't. Because there's definitely, I mean, it is disheartening. It's sad. I mean, comedy has moved in a very alt-right direction in a lot of ways right now that is like very
Uh,
sad to me. And I think I look forward to when that starts swinging back, and it will.
Abating. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it
and it's
probably will. Do you think that the
yeah.
mainstream clubs are kind of in that world right now?
Yeah, I think they are. And I think COVID has a lot to do with it.
You
My
do.
theory is that, yeah, because I think when the lockdown happened, there definitely were a lot of comics that didn't stop touring. And it is a lot of these people that
Oh
are
yeah,
kind of
that's
like,
true.
yeah. So then when things did start opening back up,
Yeah.
they were polished. They had an
Yeah.
hour ready to go. And this industry is full of people that stand for nothing. So they were like, "Oh, great, you have an hour, you're ready to shoot. Great, we need to shoot something. Let's shoot your hour because it's funny and it works. Let's shoot it." And I think that starts this like rightward momentum, right? Because then you're like, these are the first specials coming out. So now they've made money. Now they're
Yeah.
getting a fan base because they have all this stuff. So now the whole industry is like, well, that's just the direction of the zeitgeist. And you're like, but you did it.
Yeah.
You
And that's
who you
defining
elevated.
defining comedy as it goes too. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, that's what
exactly.
comedy is, and this other thing isn't comedy
Mhm.
because this is what they're feeding me.
No, for sure. Like I remember in 2022, I think I got asked to do a JFL audition, and it was going to be the first like in-person set I'd really done in like, the first like showcase set. I'd done a few like outdoor things, but it was the first, or maybe it was the end of 2021, whatever. It was like early enough that we'd been vaccinated, but it had like just happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have like a showcase set is like, you got to be polished. It's like 5 minutes. You got to like, ba, 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 ba. And I'd been doing Zoom shows. I was like kind of loose, but also like that's a very different energy. And I threw a bunch of open mics in my backyard for people that needed to do JFL auditions because I was like, let's just get our sea legs back to the best that we can. And I had a really good set at my audition, but half of my audition was also a bunch of people that had not stopped touring for 2 years. And they all killed because they were like rode hard and ready. And I was like, well, of course that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
all right, that's so to me, it's like, we're still in this like swing that hasn't fully come back yet. And then you also have, you tie it to the rise of fascism in the White House. And, a lot of these comedians are useful idiots that are spouting fascist talking points.
Yeah. There's a lot of hate going on. I
Yeah.
feel that's why I feel like the whole roast thing doesn't really have it fills Madison Square Garden, but
Yeah.
it doesn't help
Yeah.
anything because it's just more hate.
Yeah.
I watched that Kevin Hart roast just because I was like, I gotta know what this is.
Yeah.
And I just felt like there are times to bust each other's balls, so to speak. And there are times where it just is adding more hate to the conversation. And I don't know if it helps at all. I did feel like some of those people were actually hurt.
No, I think so too. Because I also think that
Chelsea Handler didn't look like she was, feeling good. And neither did the Tony Hinchcliffe, who I'm not a big fan, but he also looked like he was genuinely hurt. But maybe it's an act. I don't know.
It's hard to know. I mean, I like Tony to be hurt more, frankly, personally. But I think that to me, like roasts, the history of roasts, they used to be like a closed door thing among people that all liked and cared about each other.
I like to watch the old ones, like that one guy. I can't think of his name. Who's always drunk.
Dean Martin.
Martin.
Yeah. Well,
but
there was a camaraderie there, and they all knew
they
each
were
other.
all like friends.
And you can trust, if you trust someone, then you can roast them. My best friends can roast the hell out of me because I know there's love behind it.
And Don Rickles was apparently a very nice person.
A sweetheart.
And you knew you were in good hands when he was, busting your balls or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So it just like, it to me, it's like, no, you've like commercialized this thing that was supposed to be like a camaraderie among people, and you're not, the spirit is a completely different thing.
Fills stadiums though.
It's
amazing to me.
It
so
really
some people
does.
really, really want that. I don't know what it's tied to. Maybe it's tied to like, we like to put celebrities on a pedestal and then knock them down. I don't know.
I mean, I think that's part of it. I think we are also like, people are angry and need an outlet of some kind that isn't being provided.
Aren't
by
there
people in
enough
power.
outlets though that are going on?
Well,
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like
I think it.
Yeah.
I think it just like, to me, it's very like there's a big frustration. I mean, our country is falling apart around us, and I think there is just this like there's an anger and a helplessness. That it's like seeing people being mean to each other is like it's a little bit of a release valve for people that aren't able to like
say. That's what people say. But I
Yeah.
know we were talking about haunted houses a couple weeks ago, and people like to get scared because they like to scream because they're not
Mhm.
able to scream in any
Yeah.
other situation. They like to go on roller coasters because you can scream the whole time,
Yeah, yeah.
and maybe
No,
we need that.
no, I think that's good. I mean, I think it's like go see live music, go do it because it's ultimately these people being in community with each other and they
Yeah,
feel like they've all been aggrieved. So it is they're actually there for the community. Um and it just happens to be that the roast is the thing, but it's like, oh, look at us all being together. Like we're look at us, like we have a community. And you're like, yeah, it's based on worms, it's garbage, but it's like that is the thing. I think it's very lonely people looking for something and
yeah,
feeling like that is like the safest place for them, because that roast
yeah,
also still maintains like a you still have a shield up, right? Because
yeah.
then you're like, so I'm in a community but I'm also like very guarded, so that's like
Mhm.
where their comfort zone is, because being truly vulnerable with people is really difficult.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
so interesting.
Yeah,
We've run out of time, unfortunately, but
yeah, no
this has
worries.
been really great
Thank you.
conversation. I really appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate
And I
it.
look forward to Saturday night. Saturday night, I'm going to say plug this one more time. May 23rd at the Visionarium, which sounds like a museum or something. But it
Yeah,
is a little
please
bit.
come.
It's a little bit. Yeah, please come check it out. We're going to have a
Yeah,
really fun time.
yeah, that'll
Link in
be
the show
great.
notes. That means
Heck
you
yeah.
too, Jose. Um, Jose says being scared gives people a literal adrenaline rush. It does. And you
Yeah.
know what? We as comedians kind of like adrenaline rushes too, I guess. When you think
Mhm.
about it, we're kind of,
Well, and I think to me, I'm also like not one quick thing too. I think we can live in our brain so much that I think we are always looking for ways to get back into our heart and our feelings. And I think fear and I think comedy and like love are all similar in that way, because it is like getting out of this intellectual space and like back into our heart.
hmm
And I think it's like searching for things to like get out of here and like feel in our body again.
yeah. That's why I
Yeah.
watch cats on Instagram.
See? Absolutely. An absolute blast. Absolute blast.
Absolutely. All right. It's
Yeah.
dance break time. Thanks so much, Brandie. And we'll see you on Saturday.
Sounds good.
Everyone will see you on Saturday. I've got a
Woo.
great little punk song that we're going to listen to here.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
Love is a rush.
Yeah.
Hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. We're going this tonight. We're going through a town run. The kids are losing their minds. The kids keep up. We're piling in the backseat. The generator's steaming. We're sitting to the backbeat. The kids keep up. Hey, oh, let's go. Shooting in the background. What they want, I don't know. We're all wrapped up and ready to go. We're falling in the same line. We're going through a town run. The kids are losing their minds. The kids keep up.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all next
Yeah.
week for more lunch therapy.